meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the METS Mets of New York town. Oh, the butcher and the baker and the people on the streets, where do they go? To meet the Mets! Oh, they're hollering and cheering and they're jumping in their seats. Where do they go? To meet the Mets! All the fans are true to the orange and blue, so hurry up and come on down, 'cause we got ourselves a ball club, the Mets of New York town. Give 'em a yell, give 'em a hand, and let 'em know you're rooting in the stand. Come on and meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the METS Mets of New York town, of New York town.
And we are live, Mets and overall baseball fans. Thank you guys so much for chiming in for a very late night live stream, last minute live stream. So my apologies in advance. Well, really for what just transpired, not being live on time, how I originally set the time. I apologize. Was getting everything set up. Was really debating if I want to go live, and felt, yes, I do for at least a little bit, maybe for a couple hours, depending on how these negotiations are going to go. But knowing that the MLB and the MLBPA has finally made some significant progress tonight on the front of getting a new deal done, with the MLB having their hard deadline tonight by midnight, assumably probably going into tomorrow morning. If a deal is not met, then we will lose another week's worth of games. If a deal is met, then we will not just only have a 162 season, but players and service time will all be paid in full. So there's a lot of positives. There's a lot of breakdown today, as many of you guys have been following by now over the past couple hours. And I specifically wanted to do this live stream, especially for my Mets viewers, because of the Steve Cohen aspect and how much he actually has been a factor throughout this entire process, and how he very well can be an X factor in a positive note in the end and getting a deal done, whether that's going to be over the next 24 hours or in the days to weeks going forward. Again, there's still a lot that needs to be had here to get a deal done, but there's definitely been a lot of upside, a lot of progress. That's something that I felt was warranted, that we had the discussion on, as I know many people out there are already live streaming, sharing their thoughts, and for good reason. But before I go any further, I want to thank you guys all so much for being here in the live stream. I see Buzz Talk, Brian, Yoshima, great member on the channel, ladies, Carson, Heim, let's see, Jose, great member on the channel, Harrison's, Dolores, Eli, going down the list further, Hayden, how's it going? Al, J Boogie, Optic, Felix, great member on the channel, Jack, great member on the channel, J Boogie, Joey, Matthew, going down the list even further, Oscar, Ralph, Anxious, John, Daniel, great friend of mine, Matthew, thank you guys all so much for being here, and I will get to plenty of your comments throughout the live stream. We're going to dive right in, though, folks, because I just want to put you all up to date on what has transpired, at least what we know as of now on the lockout front. And as many of you have been following along already, you have a good idea as what has transpired, at least what has been reported, because over the past couple hours, there's been numerous people reporting about these discussions between the MLB and the MLBPA. What we know as of today is that the MLB gave in their latest proposal, which was a written proposal after negotiating throughout the day, really over the past couple days with the union in itself. And as part of that proposal, we see some significant concessions, I would say, that really help meet things more in the middle. And this is actually from the MLB. So I do give them credit that we're finally getting a proposal of significance here. As you guys see down here, luxury tax thresholds finally risen. Last proposal was at $228 million to start. Now we're at $230 to start, to end that contract over the next 5 years at $242 million. So a growth throughout it of, you're looking at $12 million from the start of it. So decent. Pre-arb pool is at 40 mil. I know that the Players Union wants it around 70 mil. Pool counts against CBT 1.33 mil per team. Minimum salary at 700. I know that the Players Union has been advocating for, I think, 725. And then it rises all the way to 770. The big issue, however, and this is what we'll be touching on a lot in the live stream today, is that the MLB wants to add a new surcharge level to the luxury tax. Right now, there are 3 levels: base, first surcharge, and second charge. The MLB wants to implement a third for teams that really are willing to go above the pack in spending. Hence, this is the Steve Cohen rule, in other words, if you like to put it in that sense. So that's a major factor. And at first, I was really ticked off to see that. But then to see further reports that we'll be getting into in a second were far more promising as to how exactly is this going to impact the Mets. Because let's be honest, this is really only going to impact the Mets. It may not even impact the Dodgers in 2022. It really does go in hand with how much that they plan to spend post-lockout. But going further, the MLB's proposed third CBT surcharge would be $60 million above the base level in a given year. So this would not be a tax in the sense of losing draft picks, but in the sense of just losing, of course, millions of dollars. As the case was in the last CBA, the first surcharge would be $20 million over, the second $40 million over. So take MLB's proposed 2022 deal as example: base 230, first 250, second 270, new third 290. So to kind of get you all up to date on that front, many of you know that by now, so I will make that clear. But then I want to get into tweets, especially from Jon Heyman, which have been significant regarding, yes, Steve Cohen. And I've been tweeting out about Steve Cohen and how just much of a bad SOB he is, because he doesn't give a rat's ass what is going to happen on this front. And yeah, let's take a look at this, folks. Okay, so first of all, I'll briefly touch on this. Maybe we'll get a video out of it tomorrow or something. But yes, a couple hours ago, Mets would still like to add another hitter, preferably left-handed, but not necessarily. And also another starting pitcher. Steve Cohen wants to win. Uncertain if a new luxury tax arrangement, presuming deal gets done, could affect plans. Now, no one should be surprised by this. I'd like to make that clear. Lefty bat-wise, you're looking at Michael Conforto, Kyle Schwarber, Freddie Freeman, the pipe dream. Those are your actual lefty bat options on the market that makes sense for the Mets right now. So those are guys to keep an eye on post-lockout that I'm sure we'll be discussing plenty in the near future, hopefully sooner than later. But then going further here, as MLB seeks to add a fourth tier for their very biggest teams that are way over the luxury tax threshold to be taxed at the highest rate. This is likely to affect only Mets and Dodgers in 2022, but the word is Mets owner Steve Cohen is okay with it if MLB thinks it's for the greater good. So let's just take a moment to appreciate that, Mets fans. Look, we have been through hell and back. I know I'm not a seasoned Mets fan like I know a lot of you guys are that have been diehard fans for decades on that. And if you're a baseball fan watching this, you can understand too how poor ownership works. But the Mets finally get a competent owner in place that isn't just the richest owner in baseball, but he's actually willing to spend. And what is the MLB trying to do? They're trying to bury him to the ground. They don't like the fact that this guy is willing to spend. They don't like the fact that the Dodgers are willing to spend. And that obviously upsets them. And you're looking at the schmuck owners, the ones that were against him to begin with, highlighting, yes, Artie Moreno of the LA Angels, that schmuck. Then you got other guys, whether it's going to be, the Arizona Diamondbacks ownership, the Reds ownership, etc. There's multiple teams that are either, bottom feeders or middle in the pack, salary-wise, that really just don't like Steve Cohen because they don't like the fact that the guy's willing to spend. Not that it hurts them and their chances at all, but just the fact that they're being stubborn. They want to pocket as much as they can. But the fact that Steve Cohen does not give a rat's ass about how much money he will be taxed by going over the threshold tells you that post-lockout, he's ready to still come out guns and blazing for the years going forward as well. Not that he's going to buy every player known to man, but point being is that this is not going to stop Steve Cohen from getting what he wants. The same way that getting pissed off about losing out on Steven Matz in free agency pre-lockout did not stop the man from signing Max effing Scherzer to a record-breaking deal. Starling Marte, Mark Canha, Eduardo Escobar, and even had the highest offer in place for Kevin Gausman. He wanted both Gausman and Scherzer, but Gausman took a pay cut to land in Toronto for his own separate reasons. So not to get on a tangent with the Mets, but obviously this is a Mets channel, and this is really where I wanted to link things. Steve Cohen is an X factor here. So the fact that he's willing, reportedly, again, this is from Heyman, so take it as you will, but to get taxed heavily, it isn't going to phase him. us Mets fans, all we can do is be smiling. That's all we can do, knowing how promising of an owner this guy has been and how much he's going to continue to be in the years going forward. But I do want to address a donation here before we go further. Again, guys, if you're just chiming in the live stream as we're breaking down all the latest news and reports on the MLB, MLBPA negotiation front, please do, in fact, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. We're less than 100 subs away from 13K, so help us get there. And also, of course, help us get to 200 likes for the first short-term goal here in the stream. Jose, thank you so much for the donation. I appreciate that. Super skeptical about tonight at PTSD from last meeting in Florida. I don't blame you, Jose, and I'm going to be completely blunt. I don't think a deal happens tonight. I just know that we are getting progress more than really what we have at all to this point. This is far more significant. This does not feel like a PR stunt. Again, knock on wood. I don't want to fall in that same situation just like what we were a week or so ago. But this does have a completely different vibe to it that seems that both sides are really starting to get on board on some of these topics, meeting halfway at least. And that's important. You need to meet the middle on a lot of these topics, right? So going further here from John Heyman, this was from 5 minutes ago. MLB is expected, MLB is, Union is expected to send a counter proposal to MLB shortly. All this back and forth at this hour seems promising, though things also looked promising a week ago. The negotiation doesn't stop at midnight, assuming things are still progressing. So there's a good chance we could be doing a live stream for a while tonight if this does in fact be a deal breaker for something. MLB is still hoping to institute an international draft and will eliminate draft pick compensation for free agents if the union accepts that trade-off. Still undecided, but it appears international draft has a chance to come to fruition. This is something that, of course, has been pushed for a while. And in doing so, what has also been reported is that part of this proposal by the MLB to the union to get international draft, they are lowering the playoff format from 14 teams to 12 teams. That is tremendous. That is what the union prefers. That's what most fans prefer. I think we're all kind of in agreement there. If you like baseball, you probably don't like the idea of 14-team playoffs. At least that's been the vast majority that I've interacted with, and for good reason. So yes, it looks like 12-team playoff format is what has been proposed in this latest proposal by the MLB. And then as you see here, at the moment, it appears the sides are sticking with the 12-team postseason plan. The sides still haven't been able to agree on a 14-team format, as players seem to favor a 5-game initial series and ghost wins to give a nice advantage to division winners. MLB is against ghosts. I am against ghost winners too. I think that is completely BS. I'm fine with a 12-team format. I'm not fine with 14-team format with all the other fancy stuff. So if they can do 12-team, really not have a lot else going on there, I think that is best. But before I go further, I'm going to address the chat right now, just see how everyone is feeling at this moment. So again, thank you guys all so much for being here. Really appreciate it. And also let me know what your thoughts are at the moment. I'm going to put a poll here in the live stream to really see what everyone's thoughts are. And we're halfway to 100 likes today, so thank you guys so much for that. Continue smashing that like and subscribe button if you guys are in fact enjoying the live stream thus far, as we're only 10 minutes in. So again, really, really appreciate you all so much. How's everybody doing tonight, too? It looks like that this is, in fact, going to be more of a late-night live stream, so I do apologize in advance if we do go on for a bit. This, again, was a spontaneous one. There really wasn't much pre-prep for it. Something that I do try to avoid, but this just felt like a circumstance where I had to get this out there and really just wanted to share my thoughts. And I'm sure I'll make more content and share further thoughts tomorrow, regardless on what the status is of the MLB lockout. But yeah, so let's see here. I'm doing great, Josh. How are you? Who's the first signing Stevie makes post-lockout? I think it's going to be a reliever. That's how I've always felt. They'll punish the Mets for spending, but not the teams with a $35 million payroll. Yes, see, Wicked, that is how the MLB works, unfortunately, as disgusting as that may be. What time do they leak that there is a deal? I call 5 a.m. Well, I hope that isn't. I'm not staying up here till 5 a.m. I can assure you that one. However, it was okay for the damn Yankees to spend for decades. BS, I agree, even though I will say that the CBT went in for that reason. Oh my goodness, Yoshima, thank you so much for the membership. I really, really appreciate that. Shout out to Yoshima for the big membership. That really does mean a lot, my friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, 14 months. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Yes. Member for 14 months. That's crazy. Thank you. Let's see. I've been a Mets fan since 62. That's awesome, Dolores. Love to hear that. How long do I think it would take for trades and signs to finish? I think that once the lockout is lifted, whenever that's going to be, whether that's going to be within the coming hours, within the next day, within the next couple days or weeks, whenever that is done, I think we're going to see a swarm of moves right away. And I think that this is going to go on for really, a 2 to 3 week period heading into spring training. I really think that there's going to just be a cluster of moves, and they're going to happen fast because a lot of teams already have their decisions made on a lot of players, at least the players that they want to go after. They've had all this time spending time evaluating players. They just haven't had the chance to negotiate with them legally because of the lockout and what you're allowed and what you're not allowed to do. Michael King, great member on the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Unhinged Yanks, how's it going? Member for 5 months. My man, how's it going, buddy? Thank you so much for being in here. Shout out to Pat. Jack says, let's get it done tonight, boys. Elf Jam, absolutely. Shout out to Jack, great member on the channel. Shout out to all you guys again that are first chiming in. We're going to be deep diving this all. Eli, how's it going? Matthew, how's it going? All you guys. Again, if I miss any comments, please do not take it personal. There's going to be a lot of comments in this live stream. I'm sure that's going to happen. But I do want to get back and see if there are any updates here from Evan. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be showing you guys updates on Twitter. Here, I'm also going to try to show you, stay up to date while being on my phone in a lot of it, because it's easier. It's very easy to scroll through my phone versus it is here on, on my desktop, if that makes any sense for you guys. Let's see. Go back to John Heyman. Interesting enough, there has not been any reporting from Jeff Passan. I don't know if something is up with him, if he got in trouble or something, because granted, I know that he didn't do too much reporting last time that this took place, but still, a little bizarre. Wonder if there's anything on the Jeff Passan front that we don't know about at the moment. Let's go Mets, Daniel. Appreciate you, my man. I predict the Yankees will make the first move. I mean, the Yanks got to make moves post-lockout because they didn't do jack pre-lockout. We're all aware of that one. Give me 1 second, folks. I'm going to double-check everything that I got going on right now. All right, folks. So to update you all again, what we have talked about and what we'll talk about. Actually, let me ask you guys this right now, especially because I know that a large portion of my viewers are Mets fans, given the fact that this is a Mets-based channel. How do you feel about what we saw with Steve Cohen today? And that he seems like he will be content with dealing with another surcharge. And a surcharge basically means another tax. A tax for going over the threshold, because you get taxed a certain amount. So the MLB is trying to involve heavier tax, a $60 million tax at a third level if it is hit when you pass a certain luxury tax threshold. So to everyone right now that's watching the live stream, how do you feel about Steve Cohen? Are you happy that he seems to be willing and okay to get hit hard with the tax and is going to continue to spend? Are you upset by the MLB's proposal, that knowing that, yes, they are still targeting teams like the Mets and like the Mets alone, really, more so than even the Dodgers? And that's something that I'm upset about, because I think they're absolute schmucks how these middle of the pack to smaller market owners think they run the show and they won't even spend a goddamn penny for their own team, their own fans. But no, let's target the team that's had very little success since its existence. And now because they have the richest owner in baseball, that's a big problem, right? Give me an effing break. It's an absolute joke. Steve Cohen is nothing more than a scapegoat for the fellow owners. And this tells you that this is more about owners versus owners than it even is than owners versus players. It really starts to feel that way when you look at how this has been all implemented, because the CBT is always the most important factor of these negotiations. And this was reported an hour ago from Michael Silverman. I'm going to check on his tweets. Players still looking over MLB proposal, but contingencies like your natural draft and extra CBT surcharge, plus insufficient movement in other areas, not leading to the conclusion they think a deal is close to being made. The MLB proposal tonight is for 12 playoff teams, as I said earlier. I originally saw that report from Travis Sawchik. And again, I'm going to be going through all these reports tonight, folks, especially the international draft is an interesting one, how that has been impacting negotiations here. And again, folks, we are 40 likes away already from 200. So make sure to smash that like and subscribe button. Always appreciated. Very interesting answer from Steve. I expected him to be against CBT decreases and penalties. He probably is, but he was silenced from the rest of the owners. Let's see here. Steve Cohen is a fan like us. He just wants baseball. Agreed. He's just a fan like us. That's a multi-billionaire. Ariel, how's it going? Hoping this gets done in the next few hours so we can make huge moves. It's going to be crazy. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And again, thank you so much for chiming in. TJ, thank you so much for the $10 dono, my man. Hype in the chat for TJ for the Beyond Generous donation. TJ says, Cohen doesn't have a voting block, so he has no choice but to be okay with it. It's BS, but Steve wants to win. He is going to do it, whatever it takes, what it takes, period, and that is why we love him. I agree with you wholeheartedly, TJ. It sucks that he doesn't have as much pull as what you'd hope. You know, it would be interesting if the richest owners in baseball were the ones that had the most pull from the owners and the MLB side of things and these negotiations, because you would think that the richest owners, the ones that are spending the most money in the sport, would have maybe a heavier say than the lesser owners, the ones that are the bottom feeders that are not willing to spend. No, that's actually not how it works. It's actually the complete opposite, which again is a joke in itself. And, you know, I digress. I'm not going to go on a tangent too much on that front, but it's still ridiculous. It really is. Appreciate the donation a lot, TJ. Thank you so much for that. T-Bird says, does the threshold even matter for Steve Cohen? It only lasts about 5 years. It has made chips in the percentage years. No, it definitely does matter. The Mets are definitely evaluating their future. Don't get me wrong. This is something where they're not going to go balls to the walls and sign Freddie Freeman and Kyle Schwarber and, you know, Carlos Rodon. That's not going to happen, right? And they want to make sure that they still are going to be good for years on end. But what is so important, and I think that stands out most about this, is the fact that the new penalty that is being put in place here would just be a further tax. Steve Cohen will naturally have more of a willingness to deal with that tax, far more than what he would have a willingness with dealing with losing draft picks. When you lose draft picks, that is the big problem you have, especially for a Mets team that is building their farm, and for good reason. And speaking of the draft, the international draft would not benefit the Mets either, but it's something that where they would, us fans would just have to bite the bullet, because the Mets have a great class of international free agents that they are set to go after prospect-wise next year. That would be diminished because we would have a draft in place, so it would not be where you can just pick and choose whoever. Like, it would be a different circumstance. But the international draft, a positive, at least from the latest proposals I've seen, is that you can do as many picks as you want. Go for however long you want. And it's not in a system that says that, oh, you know, the worst teams in the league get all the best picks. No, it doesn't work like that. So it's interesting. The international draft is something I'm interested to learn more on. And yes, it doesn't look like it benefits the Mets. None of this really looks like it benefits the Mets, to be quite honest with you. The Mets look like they probably get a hit a little bit harder than every other team in baseball regarding these negotiations, just because they have the richest owner in baseball, which again, I digress. It's bullshit, right? Again, pardon the swearing. I really don't care right now. Please don't get offended. However, I'm just ranting a little bit as you are. I'm no more than a fan like you guys, just sharing my thoughts, trying to stay up to date with what has been transpiring. Blacklisted Outdoors, my man. Worry, bro, this lockout is getting to be a little ridiculous. I think that's an understatement. I need baseball in my life. You and I both, my man. I hope you're doing well with work and everything. Tell your family I said hello. Worry, appreciate all the content. Thank you so much, John. Hope for your sake we end this tonight so you have more tangible material to report on. I hope for the same thing too. Yes, I will be completely blunt, guys. Covering the New York Mets and baseball as a whole, when that is your job as a content career in a lockout, is something I don't wish on anyone. It has definitely impacted me, not just financially, but mentally, it just has not been a fun time because I have the fan side of me, which is what you're seeing right now, obviously, that is miserable throughout this entire process. You have the content creator side of me that loves making content. Thankfully, I've still been having great viewership because of all you loyal subscribers and viewers on the channel, but it's still something where there's just a natural lack of things to talk about because a large portion of the things that I talk about on the channel are more, news-based, are things that are trending topics, right? That makes sense to discuss in a shorter period of time versus something that's going to have as much longevity. So yeah, I want the lockout lifted as much as anyone, not just from the content creator aspect, but as a fan aspect. I want baseball. I want to talk about these games. I want to give you guys post-game analysis. I want to give you guys in-game live streams. There's so many things I have in store for this year that I haven't even really gotten to do anything with yet because we're still in this damn lockout. Appreciate the kind words. Jose, thank you so much for the donation. MLS and F1 has marketed their sport better than the MLB. Basically, every sport has marketed their sport better than the MLB, and that's saying a lot. It really is. You think that the nation's pastime would actually have an idea what marketing is, but all these old head schmucks have no effing clue how to market their players, how to market key matchups, and all that. They are just abysmal. They are rock bottom. It's quite pathetic. I can't emphasize that enough. Since becoming a baseball fan numerous years ago, I've always noticed the MLB's complete incompetence with how to properly market. You see it with the bigger name sports in this country, the NFL, the NBA, hockey. Hockey sucks at marketing too. I'm not going to denounce that. At least in the U.S. In Canada, it's different because that's literally their sport. But point being is that there are sports that are light years ahead of the MLB that shouldn't be. They should be more even keeled, but they just have no damn clue what they're doing marketing wise. Oh yeah, no, I'm not worried, Matthew. I'm excited. It's gonna be endless content happening once the lockout is lifted. I'm aware of that. Let's play Wordle together at midnight. I have a confession. I've never played Wordle, so I'm not going to do that. I've been wanting to. I haven't played it yet, though. I actually plan to start playing it soon. It looks fun. Everyone's doing it. But yeah, we won't be doing that in the live stream. But I will practice on my own time. So next time I'm in here, I'm making sure I'm prepped. Hope you're doing well, Scotty. Thank you so much for chiming in. But let's see if there's any updates on the lockout front, guys. Shall we? Let's do exactly that. And in case you guys are wondering what exactly I tweeted out earlier, here it is. And it seemed to resonate well with everyone. And of course, guys, if you want to follow me on Twitter, please go right ahead. It is Tyler at WardyNYM. You guys know the drill. So that's the live stream that we got going on right now. Let's see. This is the tweet. Steve Cohen signed Max effing Scherzer to a record-breaking contract while having the highest offer on the table for Gosman after being pissed off by losing Steven Matz. It's the Steven Matz sweepstakes. Now you want to piss him off more with a higher tax. It's over for the league. And we got Steve Cohen Thanos in here for the tweet. So yeah, I'm glad that resonated well with a lot of you guys. That cracked me up too as I was tweeting in. But let's get back to updates here. I haven't seen much as of now. Again, to reiterate for people that are first chiming in, folks, what's really important more than anything is the CBT here. The fact that the MLB is finally risen. It was at 228 yesterday. Now they rose it to start at 230 and to end at 242. Now, obviously, that's still like 20 million off from what the players union wants. They want the deal to end at like 260, 263. But they are reaching in the middle here. They're getting awfully close. And this is something where from the union side, you'd have to think that this is how much better of a deal can you get than this? I don't think that you can get a deal much better than this. I honestly don't. And it's frustrating as all hell, however, that we're getting good negotiations finally, but that there has to be this stupid deadline in place. There's no need to have this damn deadline in place, but this is just what the MLB's been doing. It's like a scare tactic when none of these deadlines even exist. They say the hard deadline is today, when there's a very good chance that by the time you're watching this live stream on replay, especially, one, negotiations did not finish, and two, it's probably sometime this Wednesday, right? And negotiations are still going on. It's just stupid. Why even put out a damn hard deadline? So you're going to tell me we can either have a full 162-game season, we're probably going to reschedule games, we're going to make it all hectic, it's not going to be good. Of course, it's going to be frustrating as all hell. The thought of double headers, too, if they have to do that, is going to drive me nuts. I'm over them from last season, from all the double headers Mets fans especially saw. But you have that as it is. You players get full pay, service time, fully paid. All that's taken care of. But if you don't get a deal done by this time, not just no 162, but we're taking another a week's worth of games away. So 6 series in total. Please enlighten me how that makes any effing sense. Darren, my man from the UK, it's 4:30 a.m. where he's at, but he's chiming into the live stream like an absolute G. Darren, thank you so much for being here, my man. I hope you're doing well. Good morning to you. And the lockout, we need the Mets back, dude. Hope everyone is well. Thank you so much, my man. Have a great work day. I'm sure that's why you're up so early, but thank you so much for chiming in, no less. Do you see that Max was signing autographs at the meetings? I did, because Max is a beauty. And I still can't comprehend the fact that he's actually a New York Met. It really hasn't kicked in fully yet for me, and that's exciting because I love Mad Max, and I can't wait to see him pitch on the mound for the Amazings. It has to happen soon. And as I talked about in my video earlier today, if you haven't watched it, please make sure you do, folks, on how the delayed season impacts Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer in particular. And obviously, these talks really dictate a lot in that video, but still make sure to check it out because it's significant, man. When you have the two of the best pitchers in baseball, 2 future Hall of Famers that are going to miss games this year, it's just sickening. It's absolutely sickening. Even with their health statuses, which again could be a benefit to them if games are missed to give them more time to get ready. Again, I talked about it more in the video, so I won't go on a tangent here. But point being is that just the thought of losing potential starts with a Max Scherzer, Jacob deGrom is always going to hurt everyone, including myself as a fan. It sucks. Stanley, thank you so much for the kind words. Bring us home. Give us baseball. You're the best. No, you're the best, Stanley. Thank you so much for chiming in. Again, this was a last-minute live stream, so I really appreciate everyone that just has come in really over the past, half hour now. And I don't know where we are in the like count, folks, but I know we're close to 100. So make sure to continue smashing that like and subscribe button as always, folks. And thank you so much in advance. Just checking out Ken Rosenthal's tweets, who should still be working for MLB Network, but Rob Manfred, that POS that he is, got the man fired because he was very blunt in his words about Rob Manfred, but for good reason. God forbid you critique the commissioner, right? It's almost like your job's going to be on the line because of it. Hence why Ken no longer works with the network. Yeah, I'm seeing nothing. Are we dead right now? Are we dead in reporting? Of course this happens, not long after we get into the live stream. Do I think we are close to opening day? I don't think the season, opening day is a delayed opening day, right? Like it's delayed. We know that. Do I think a deal's going to happen soon? I think that this is easily the closest we have been to a deal by far. Do I think a deal is happening tonight? No, I do not. I think that this is going to drag out and may go out into, the early morning. All I hope, to be quite honest with you guys, is that if a deal is not going to be done throughout these next 12 to 24 hours, that it wasn't for a lack of effort, right? That it was because of the fact that they were still getting really close, and they're really, really close. That will happen in the coming days, but it wasn't because of this was another PR stunt, right? And MLB doing their dirty work per usual to give them a good excuse as to why, oh yeah, Rob Manfred with that damn smirk on his face will say, oh yeah, we're missing another week's worth of games. So that's what I hope out of this more than anything. That one, obviously the lockout lifts ASAP, but whenever it's going to happen, that the buildup isn't the PR stunt that we saw last week, because I'm over that. That was complete BS, and that is inexcusable. And thank you so much for the 100 likes already in the live stream. Love and appreciate all you guys. I was getting 200 for the next short-term goal. Yeah, still nothing, no new updates. I'm gonna double check with other. I'm going to cheat right now. I'm going to go on my buddy Jim's live stream, Ball Cap, and see if he's got anything pulled up that I'm missing. Okay. Let's go to Travis Sawchik for a second. Travis Sawchik is MLB writer for The Score, and he has been reporting a little bit here. Okay. So 1 hour ago, he reported Gap has closed this evening, but I'm told this is a valid assessment of where things stand. Still issues to work through. Yes. I think everyone knows that by now, right? Let's see. MLB had been pushing for 14 teams for much of these negotiations. So this is a major concession, or possibly, and this is just speculation, negotiating leverage if necessary for players. Pitch clock and 12-team playoff will be positives for the actual on-field product if they happen regardless. That's a great pitch clock is really interesting. Now I'm someone that pitch clock doesn't do anything for me. I know that there are fans that are very much in favor of pitch clock because it naturally, pitchers have to make decisions quicker, and it can obviously cause some more offense potentially too. The banning of the shift, I'm not sure if it's in this proposal. I'm assuming it may be. I haven't seen reports. I know that they talked about it over the past couple of days, but if a shift ban happens, that won't be implemented until 2023. It won't start this year. I don't think the clock would happen either, and I'm pretty sure that the large bases that could be implemented this year. It's still up in the air. Once the deal is finalized, we will know exactly when these things are going to happen. I'm curious though to everyone in the live stream right now, how do you feel about the shift and its status? Because I am someone that, from a fan perspective, I hate the shift. I think the shift is god awful. I absolutely hate seeing any New York Met or any player that I'm a fan of go up for an at-bat, and then there's like every infielder known to man on the one side. That's the pull side, that they know that that's where they're going to go. I hate that. But from a production perspective, defensively, I don't want to see the shift go, at least for the Mets. If we're talking defensively, this is something that will hurt the Mets if they lose it. The Mets went from being a bottom feeder and shifting in all the MLB to, in 2021, we're the second best team in baseball with the shift, only behind, drumroll please, yes, the LA Dodgers. The Mets shifted 50.3% of every opposing at-bat that they saw. Plate appearance, I should say. We're talking 50% of every plate appearance they saw from the opposing team, they shifted on. And it gave them tremendous amount of success. Francisco Lindor hates the shift, but he does it because he knows it's good for the team. Lindor had a 99 percentile outs above average this past season. One of, if not the best defensive shortstop in all of baseball for that reason. Jeff McNeil, someone who was not in favor of the shift, struggled a bit. Did not look great defensively because of it. That's the stubbornness aspect that we talked about with McNeil. But pros to losing the shift is more offense, naturally. How does that benefit the Mets? Well, that actually benefits someone like Jeff McNeil a little bit more than anyone else, because Jeff McNeil has been shifted a boatload over the past year and a half, far more than when he first came in the league. And that has been a detriment to his offensive success. It has led him to struggle a little bit more with spreading the field. And taking away that shift can really help, in my mind, bring back the Jeff McNeil of old, especially when he first came in the league, when teams had no clue how to read this guy defensively. That's a positive. Negative is the defensive aspect. The Mets were second best in shifting this past season. The Philadelphia Phillies were a bottom feeder. They were 30th. They were the worst, okay? So you take away the shift, and it basically gives everyone an even playing field defensively. So while you, of course, can still make sure that you're doing proper, in-game defensive adjustments and things like that, the shift really is what separates the more analytically driven and the smarter clubs that spend more money on their analytics departments and not even just money, just really care about the numbers game more than other teams. Phillies are completely old school, that we know, led by Joe Girardi, of course. Mets were old school for the longest time. They were god-awful defensively because of it. Mets are new school now, and they're tremendous defensively because of it. So you lose that defensive upside, and you gain offensive production. Now, the Mets sucked offensively last year. So is that a good thing? I would say to an extent, yeah, it is, to have offensive production better, right? Defensively, though, that's something where it'll be interesting how this all plays out. But I definitely understand both sides of the coin for people that are for banning the shift and people that are against banning the shift. I really do understand both sides of the spectrum there. Drew, no worries, my man. I had the stream preset the wrong way originally when I did it very last minute. You won't see people going as crazy with launching the ball in the air, less strikeouts. I actually think that there's a solid chance that there will be more strikeouts with a no shift, to be quite honest with you, with how it impacts the pitchers. Would he be opposed to each team having 3 shifts per game? Would I be opposed to it? No, but I just don't see why that would happen or why that makes sense, rather, to be quite honest with you. If you're going to ban the shift, why are you going to have it so you can just do it 3 times a game? Like, okay, I'm facing the Philadelphia Phillies. If I only get a chance to shift 3 times a game, all right, it's because I'm going to shift Bryce Harper all those 3 times. Like, I don't know. It feels silly to me. Hearing about a ghost win in playoffs makes me ill. Yeah, I'm not in favor of ghost wins. No one is. No one is. I think infielders should have to be on the dirt when the pitch is thrown. Fair. Again, infielders are meant to play the infield, right? They're meant to play their position. Again, these are completely fair arguments. That from a fan perspective, I agree with you. I'm just conflicted because I know that the Mets actually thrived with it last year. So if that wasn't the case, I think I would have a really different viewpoint. But as a biased Mets fan speaking right now about the Mets, that's why I'm conflicted. Let's see if there's any more tweets here from Travis. While the lights are still on in the Midtown offices tonight, let's get baseball back to East and West divisions. Works well with a 12-team playoff format. Division winners get buys, I should say, is what he tweeted out. Seeing if there's any further tweets from him. And guys, if you see any new tweets out there regarding the lockout, please do not hesitate from letting me know in the live stream so we can jump to it right away and share our initial thoughts about what is transpiring, okay? So if you're following on Twitter, please make sure to let me know in the live stream when you find out new information. Not fake news, please. Just when you find out like a new tweet happened from Heyman or whoever, if you beat me to it, which again, there's a very solid chance that you will do that. Minimize the shift, says Matthew. You can only use it a limited amount of time, so you got to use it strategically per game. Okay. I mean, I get it a little bit more. I think when it was said to me a minute ago to only do it 3 times, it just threw me off. But when explained like that, I get what you're saying. You have to be okay. You know what? Let me pump the brakes. The idea of limiting the shift is actually a little bit more intriguing because it really does come down to what team's smarter than the other, right? And they both have those same rules. You get a certain amount of times you can shift, right? How are you going to execute that? Who's going to be the smarter team in the end? Who's going to use those shifts when they shouldn't have? Who's not going to use those shifts when they should have? The more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm starting to come with terms that actually is sensical. Like, I understand that a little bit. Actually, I love seeing good hitters beat the shift too. Don't get me wrong. But the biggest thing with hitters, and Joey Gallo can say this perfectly because Joey Gallo hates the shift because he got shifted over 95% of the time last season. And I've always loved Joey Gallo. I don't care that he's on the Yankees. Love Joey Gallo. Great guy. Joey Gallo is not going to make his money by having a high OPS, a low average. It's not going to happen. Baseball players make their money in slugging. They make their money with those home runs. That is how you get the biggest paydays in free agency. Unfortunately, players do not get paid good bags by having a high average, by being a great contact hitter. It doesn't work in today's baseball. So to the people that are saying, oh, just slap it the other way. No, players are always going to be shooting for the home run ball, even when they have the shift on them. That is part of the MLB. That's where they know the moneymaker is. And that's why it's awfully difficult to find players that really are a true balance at times. And Jeff McNeil's a great idea too, because McNeil, he's a guy that shoots for the fences in my mind more than he should, right? And it pisses me off a lot as a fan. I hate when I see him with that golf swing. he's trying to get a home run. It isn't going to work. It leads to a lack of success on his part. But when you think about it from a player's point of view, even if you're not a full home run hitter, they're always going to be shooting for those home runs a lot of the time because of the fact that they know that is the moneymaker. And that isn't at their fault. That's at the MLB's fault for prioritizing, evaluating the players the way that they do in the market. If it wasn't that way, if the MLB did appreciate their contact hitters more, they're more balanced players, those gap-to-gap hitters more so than those home run or nothing hitters, it'd be a different discussion. But that goes directly in hand as to why the shift, for Joey Gallo's case especially, has been a detriment to him and will be a detriment to him with payday-wise. Take away that shift, that man is going to destroy baseballs, and that short porch is going to get lit up upwards of 50 times as soon as that shift is gone for him with the Yankees. It's going to happen. Mark, thank you so much for the $10 donation. Really appreciate that, Mark. Hype in the chat from Mark with a $10 dono. Really, really appreciate that. You could save your shift for the ninth, and he has an advantage. That's an idea. That's definitely an idea. I feel like that would get manipulated very quickly, though. I feel like fans would get pissed off quickly if every team started to do that philosophy, however. Say you only have 3 shifts, right? You're like, okay, I'm not going to use those shifts until it's the 9th inning. It's going to annoy fans. Either way, fans will be annoyed by this, one way or the other. Jordan, what's up, my man? He says on Tory Spaces they read, and I'm sure that Tory Spaces is my guys, Giraffe Neckamark and James Shianos. Shout out them both of the Mets to the podcast. They read a tweet from someone that said a van pulled up with a ton of McDonald's at the headquarters for players. Take it with a grain of salt, but is interesting. Okay, sounds like they're not going anywhere, is what you're telling me. Because I know that those late Mickey D runs hit different. I could tell you, I won't forget. It was like yesterday, guys. Fun little story. Remember, if you guys have been following the channel, if you're a Mets fan, you know that I am probably, if not the first, and definitely one of the first people to break news that happens. Doesn't matter what time it is. Doesn't matter what point of day it is. I will be there. When the Mets did their 3 signings in one day of Eduardo Escobar, Mark Canha, and Starling Marte. After the Mark Canha live stream, it was late. It was like midnight. There was a lot of rumblings with Starling Marte. So I figured that a signing would happen soon. I sprint down to my local McDonald's, not far away at all. Sprint, meaning I drive there. Driving back halfway through my drive, I'm getting the notifications on my phone that Starling Marte has signed with the New York Mets. So then I get back, I scoff down as much food as I can, feel bloated as all hell, past like 12 a.m., probably at least 12:30, 12:40, whatever time it was. Then I had to throw the rest in the trash because I couldn't finish it because then I hopped on the live stream for you guys right away. So yes, when you have those late night McDonald's runs, normally it's a good sign. Good things are happening. So I'm going to hope that that same good luck goes here in these negotiations tonight. We did briefly touch on the larger bases. I'll break down it further, however. I know it seems silly, but if it encourages guys to steal more, I think it would be That's a fair point. The stealing aspect, I like that. The larger bases is not just supposed to be for stealing, but also just, I think, to lessen injury, even though I feel like there's risk of guys getting more hurt because they're not used to these bases. So there's definitely pros and cons to them. But the stealing aspect is interesting. I haven't really thought about it that much. So that's fair. Obviously, a larger thing that you're trying to steal bag, larger space, greater chance you have of actually stealing it. Hoping for news soon. We need baseball. You and I both, Linky. We're both hoping for the same thing. What's up, Jay Fish? How's it going? We are just staying up to date on all the reports regarding the MLB lockout. Again, I'm feeling cautiously optimistic. I don't expect the deal to get done tonight, but these are by far the best the negotiations in my mind have been so far because of how the CBT threshold, how that has progressed in these talks. How there's a lack of a stubbornness for once by the MLB here to have these talks. It's important. Ben Nicholson Smith says international draft is a major issue right now. Let's check that out. I know that is one of the major issues. Ben Nicholson for Sportsnet. Okay. Talks continue to focus on 12-team playoffs. Per source, believe Travis Sawchuk. Yep. Per source, players indicated a willingness to lower pre-R bonus pool This is important. Players suggested they could start at $70 million per year and increase by $5 mil per year, down from a starting point of $80 million. Okay, interesting. As we know, pre-arb, the latest the MLB has put in their proposal is $40 million. So keep that in mind. MLB has indicated they're willing to work all night after issuing a proposal earlier today. Players, meanwhile, are talking internally, debate, international draft ongoing. Likely MLBPA will counter tonight. If the PA gets a counter tonight and it's significant, man, I'm hoping for the best. Again, I'm not getting my hopes up, but I'm hoping for the best. He goes on to further say, over the past 20 minutes, important to note that no deal is done until it is done. Yes. I don't think it took a rocket scientist to figure that one out. Really appreciate the info there. Let's see. And no deal is done, but today's proposal by MLB moved the needle on CBT, pre-arb, bonus pool, and to a lesser extent minimums. That's something. Now, international draft described as biggest issue under discussion. So according to Ben Nicholson-Smith of Sportsnet, of course, that is Canadian-based. When I think Sportsnet, I think of the NHL. I don't think of the MLB. Regardless, that is what we're working with again, according to him. What's up, Will? Will says, hey, just chiming in. Was wondering what you think the rotation should look like. What it should look like, Jacob deGrom at the 1. Max Scherzer, number 2. Number 3, one of Carlos Rodon or Chris Bassett, Shamania, Luis Castillo. One of those 4 is what I want it to be. Your number 4 starter, Taijuan Walker. Your number 5th starter, Cookie Carrasco and or Yusei Kikuchi, because it does feel like there's a very solid chance the Mets will land Yusei Kikuchi as a depth starter. Emphasis on the depth starter. He has somewhat middle of the rotation potential, but I'm not nearly as optimistic about that I know that other people are, especially ones I've had on the channel recently. That's how I want the rotation to look. I just want to make sure that I really hope the Mets just add a starter that will come in the middle of the pack and really balance things and give the Mets the best 1, 2, 3 in baseball. The media is going to be pushed for tomorrow. Rene Rivera from Mets said that last time they tweeted that it was faked. I'll check. Rene Rivera. My nickname always was the gerbil for him. That's a shout out Rene Rivera, former Mets catcher. I'll have to look that up, what you're saying here. Let's do that. Freeman to Jays or Dodgers? Between the two, I think he has a far greater chance to go to the Dodgers. Between those two. Worry out there risking his health by Ian McDonald's late at night to report Mets news. Shout out to you for that worry. Oh, thank you so much, Mike D. I'm putting it all on the line for you guys. Little do you know. Let's check Rene. Is Rene Rivera tweeting? Is he really tweeting? Okay. I didn't even know Rivera was on the Nationals, so I was 8 years old when I learned that one. Okay, I do not see any tweets from Rene Rivera, so that feels like it's fake news. And that's okay. It's going to happen. I didn't know he was on the Nationals. Interesting. What do you think the Braves do if Freeman leaves? I think that they push hard after Matt Olson, and if they can't land Matt Olson, then their fallback will be Anthony Rizzo. That's what I think they do. Oh, he was in a live, and I asked a question. Oh, okay. I understand what you're saying now, Steven. My mistake. I didn't know, obviously. Free agent announcements will be chaos after the deal. Yes, that is a fact. It will 1,000% be chaos once a new deal is in place. What tweets exactly did he say were fake, Steven? Like from what reporter or from what person? Frankie Montas, I would love Frankie Montas, but he's going to cost an arm and a leg, which is why I think that the Mets won't land him. I think if you're looking at an A's pitcher, Sean Manaea or Chris Bassett are more of a likelihood. I could, of course, be wrong, but I just know player value-wise, Montas is at the top of the list between those three, among those three. As a Mets fan, I'm disgusted by Scherzer. Dude gets 43 mil as a spokesman of players wanting to get paid. I don't understand how you could be disgusted by Scherzer, who's one of the best and most consistent pitchers of baseball, getting it bagged by the Mets. He's always been a massive spokesperson in the MLBPA, and he's lived up to his contract. So I don't get how you can be disgusted by that. I really don't. The whole point of Scherzer is his impact to impact the people below him, so that way that they can find themselves in positions that he is now in, that he's worked his entire career for. So I'm not sure how you can be disgusted by Scherzer when he's deserved every single penny that he has gotten in his career to this point. This is not a sticky substance merchant like a Garrett Cole type situation here. This is Max effing Scherzer. I don't know where Passan is. I don't know where Passan is. Great question. We definitely need to sign Andrew Chafin. Agreed. I've talked about Andrew Chafin so many times, and I know it won't be the last time. I hope the last time is when it's because the Mets signed him. Don't get me wrong, the minor league salaries are an issue, and I agree with you on that one. But that's something that is just not going to be able to get built much headway right now, given the issues that they have on hand. I agree with you. The minor leagues needs to be taken care of better. There's no denying that whatsoever. But given where things currently stand with how many things that they're dealing with in these negotiations, unfortunately, it's just not going to happen to the liking for us fans. So I can understand if that's your argument, why you can care less about the MLBPA. I can understand that to a degree. But unfortunately, that's just one of those things where it's going to take more time. And that, unfortunately, it is what it is. Cohen did seem to laugh at the Cohen tax because he's an absolute beauty. Nothing's stopping that man from getting what he wants. Carlos or Freeman for Dodgers? I would say that between the two, Freddie Freeman's more likely. I think Rodon's best locations are our team. I honestly think Rodon's best locations. There's three teams that come in mind. There's the Philadelphia Phillies, New York Mets, and the Texas Rangers. Those three stand out to me quite a bit. Correa prediction? I don't know. People were saying Correa to Chicago a lot. I don't know, man. I really don't know what's going to happen with Correa right now. I find myself so conflicted with him going back and forth. I really don't know. What day is the season starting? As of now, the season is starting. Date-wise, I think April 5th. But that's not going to happen more than likely. If a deal doesn't get done in these negotiations, it's another week of games missed. Rosenthal tweet? All right, I'll check it out. How do you feel if Cookie goes to the bullpen? As long as that's because the Mets have great depth in their rotation, then I'm not against it. But again, we'll find out. We'll see how the season goes. Stormy, stop. Hold on, guys. If you don't know, I have two bunnies, by the way. They're both adorable, and they'll be in my live streams you'll see throughout the season. One of them, Stormy, who's a 2.5-month-old lionhead, is nibbling on the cage a little bit more than I want her to. I don't know what bunnies' infatuation with nibbling on cages are. It's like they like to eat the paint. It's so stupid. And PETA's probably going to come and, barge down my door for something that I can't control. What's up, Dean? What do you think an Alonso extension would look like? I don't know. That's something I will have to deep dive for a separate video. I want to deep dive that. I don't want to give you just a random thought right now on Alonso's extension. My NBA team is the Knicks, as unfortunate as I may be. Ken Rosenthal tweet is what someone said, right? We're checking on Ken's tweets. And guys, I don't know where we are on the like count. Help us get to 200 likes, though. Really, really appreciate it. And also help us get a 13K subs. If you guys are new to the channel, thank you guys so much for being here. I am the largest Mets content creator you will find on YouTube. I am beyond grateful for that. I cover every single thing known to man regarding the New York Mets. And during the season, you will see endless post-game live streams. You will see numerous in-game live streams. You will see interviews. You will see all different types of coverage and analysis on the New York Mets. And of course, overall baseball, I share my thoughts as well. But this is a Mets-centric channel. So even if you're not a diehard Mets fan, if you appreciate the content, if you appreciate me, please do not hesitate from smashing those buttons, especially when any breaking news happens that is even remotely close related to the Mets. We will break it live as it happens, so make sure you have those notifications on too, so you do not miss a second of the content coming your way throughout the year. Ken, no new tweet from Ken, so that's a fallacy, unless you're just talking about a retweet that he did, but that doesn't clarify his tweet. Thoughts on Apple TV deal? I don't have Apple TV, so I don't like that aspect, but I will say we're going to go on Bob Nightingale's thing because I'm seeing some tweets about him. And yes, the boob himself. I do like, though, that the Apple deal implements basically a MLB red zone, if you will, giving you daily highlights and stuff. That I'm intrigued by. Another deadline come and gone. It is now Wednesday morning. The new deadline is now Wednesday afternoon for the two sides to reach an agreement before MLB cancels another week of games. Are you kidding me? Not surprised. Just annoying. Just annoying. Another deadline come and gone. See here. It is now Wednesday morning. The new deadline is now Wednesday afternoon for the two sides to reach. What's Wednesday afternoon? What time? Like 5? 2, 3, 4, 5? Can we get an actual time, please? So they just keep pushing these damn deadlines. It's so stupid. I just want to know if they're going to continue talking tonight or not. I will say this, guys. If this ends up becoming another PR stunt tomorrow, I'm going to break something. I don't think it's going to happen, but if it does happen, where the MLB pulls out BS again, I'm going to break something. 1,000%. I don't know what I'm going to break, but I'll post something on Twitter for you to watch. Game flashbacks to the massive disappointment that was last week. I know, I don't like that. Guys, we're 50 likes away from 200 already. Continue smashing that like and subscribe on. Thank you so much in advance. Matthew out here with the sus comment. Can't say he's wrong, though. I said no on your poll. I just wanted to say yes, but I don't trust the players anymore. I always was on the players' side, but just seems like the players want too much now. Interesting. Okay. I respect everyone's opinions, regardless on if I agree or disagree. Passing got suspended by ESPN for telling players and agents to reject offer from last week. He called it a shit sandwich. Oh, is that really what happened? That wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. I'm going to have to do my homework on that one. So I was unaware. Better get this done before AEW. I don't watch AEW. I'm sorry. I haven't watched like anything like that since I was a kid. Loved it when I was younger. Don't get me wrong. But when the reality hit that this wasn't like as genuine as I thought it was, I lost all interest. I'm sorry. And that isn't any hate or shame to, all the diehards out there that love WWE, AEW, and all that stuff. I can't get into it. I can't. I'm a big UFC guy. If you're talking about actual fighting, UFC is my stuff. Great card that just happened this past weekend, highlighted by Masvidal and Covington. I gotta wake up early. Okay, have a great night, Matthew. Appreciate you chiming in. Have a good night, Jonathan. Let's see. Jeff Passan has tweeted, folks. Are you? Oh my God. What does this mean? What's the can someone tell me the context behind this, please? I'm a big Mountain Dew guy, by the way. I don't like Diet Dew, but I respect it. Please tell me the context. Oh, does that mean he's staying up? Is that what this means? This has to mean he's staying up, right? Or is he just playing games? That's what I got from it. Because you're staying up when you drink Mountain Dew. All right. All right. I respect it. Okay. Jeff Passan with a cryptic tweet of him and a Mountain Dew. I'm going to go on a limb and say we're going to have a long night. Maybe he's jacked up. Yeah, no. So Jeff Passan's latest tweet is that, yeah, he's staying up. Okay. Yeah, the hard deadlines are such a joke, though. Can we just take a moment to look at that? Seriously. Do I think the Knicks are going to make a last-minute run? No. No, I do not. Can we get this done before NFL free agency starts, please? How do I feel Stroman's comments about the Mets? I'm not going to expand on it further. You know, I was such a heavy supporter and advocate for Stroman for the longest time, but I really don't think I need to waste much more of my breath on the man. I think he's proven it enough on just how contradictory he is. Literally, the guy can't make a comment without deleting a tweet within 2 seconds. He literally has nothing about him comes off as genuine. And it sucks, but it's true. Great athlete. I have nothing personal against him, but he clearly, for someone that acts as mentally strong as he does, he is the complete opposite. At least in the public eye, and it's unfortunate. It seems like he tries to, state that he is a certain way to make himself believe he's a certain way, to overcome these adversities. And don't get me wrong, he's faced so much adversity in his life. There's no denying that, but I think because of the adversities that he's faced, it's led him to stereotype anything and everything possible. And I think he really just needs a hard look in the mirror about what life is and how people are, because not everyone is as bad as he makes them out to be. And it really just makes him look more of a poorer person, a poorer character in doing so. It's just unfortunate. It really is just unfortunate. Again, I've always been a big fan of his, so it really does upset me to see how his comments and actions have really taken things to a level that is just, in my mind, reaching an inexcusable level. And I'm talking about Marcus Stroman, because I was asked about Stroman. Will Mark Vientos ever make his debut? I think he'll make his debut. I'll try and get back in the live stream here. Guys, we are also 70, and I quote, 70 subs away from 13,000 subscribers on the channel. So if you would be so inclined, please do not hesitate to smash that like and subscribe button. Again, help us get 200 plus likes, help us get a 13K subs by the end of the stream. Would be really appreciative, especially, not going to lie, the past 2 months have not been fun on the channel. Just like viewership wise, they've been great per usual, but there's just been it's been so hard to reach out to people because no one obviously is caring about baseball right now. So trust me when I say that every single one of you does really mean the world to me. And helping us get 13K subs for the next short-term goal really does mean a lot, especially considering the fact that we've only been on the channel for just over a year. I'd say, not even a year and a half. Not even a year and a half. Slants, how's it going, my guy? Ashley, thank you so much for the sub. I'm excited for the Mets this year. I'm excited for the Padres this year. So right back at you. You know, I don't get me wrong. You're going to see me say some nasty stuff about the Padres at some point this year when we match up. Don't take it personal. They're a fun team. Love Tatis Jr. I loved a lot of moves that they did heading into last season. Unfortunately, like the Mets, they just had a massive collapse in the second half. So wishing you the best. And once we cross paths, you know, may the best team win. Appreciate the subscription. Thank you so much for that. Why you look like a discount Conforto? Why do you keep calling me discount Conforto is the real question. Realistically, I feel the whole month of April will be missed. I honestly don't think you're wrong for saying that. I heard somewhere that once it goes below 140 games, then it starts to affect the TV deals. Agreed, but also keep in mind. So yeah, to miss 140 games, we're gonna miss. You know, we got to miss at least 3 weeks of baseball, pushing north of a month. So I agree with you on that one. What's up, Andrew? Has anything been reported during the negotiations regarding extra inning rule? No. What we know from we're not going to get 7 inning doubleheader extra innings, I should say. That's not. No, I'm sorry. I misspoke. We are not going to get runner on second for extra innings, and I don't think we're going to have 7 inning doubleheaders either. I know for the runner on second extras, that's gone. Manfred was against that, which I'm happy about. Finally, something I agree with the man on. Probably the one thing I've agreed with the man on since he's become commissioner, but at least it's something. Not taking this bait anymore. Have a good night. Oh, thank you so much, Jose. Have a great night too, my friend. I can't stay up till 2 a.m. I got work. Yeah, see, this is my work. So again, I don't blame you for prioritizing your job first. Go and do that. Always prioritize your jobs, your priorities in life before coming on the channel. Please do not put me first. I appreciate your support, but you guys will get here when you want to get here. You don't need to force it. What do you think RJ Barrett gets for an extension? I don't know what his price point will be, but I know that man needs to retire a Nick already. That might be a little bit of exaggeration, but one, I am a diehard Duke fan, not a bandwagon. I've always been a Duke fan. Got to sign them as a random team to follow in 5th grade elementary school. And if Duke won March Madness that year, then I got to pick what we did for the last week of school for fun. I had no clue who Duke was, obviously being in 5th grade, but I watched them every game in March Madness, and then the rest is history. So I'm not a bandwagon. Everyone that throws the shade at Duke fans, Coach K's final year too, which is upsetting for me. But I loved RJ Barrett during his time with Duke, with Zion, Cam, who's in New York, Nick now, who unfortunately suffered a shoulder injury, which sucks after having his best game as a Nick with 17 points 2 nights ago. But yes, I'm a Nick fan, and I think RJ Barrett is going to be here for a very long time. I like Rutgers too for basketball. Rutgers is actually my football team because they're the first team I saw in person college-wise. And basketball, I root for them too. I love the wins that they had over Purdue this year, especially because my buddy goes to Purdue. So I like to rag on him any chance that I get. Out of JD, Dom, or Jeff, who do you think will be traded? I think all of them have a strong chance of being dealt, but definitely JD. Yes, I think that the Mets are definitely going to try to land another outfielder. And I think his name may very well be Michael Conforto, as crazy as that may sound. I think they're in the market for Michael. I think that they're in the market still for Chris Bryant. I think they're in the market for depth outfielders as options too. Plenty of options on the outfield front for the Mets still. I love you too, Steve. I haven't seen much. I haven't seen much updates yet. Let me check. And yes, I know I'm a discount Conforto Mets fan. I don't hear. Normally they just call me Conforto lookalike, not a discount though. It makes it sound bad. Bob Nightingale just tweeted this, trying to understand it because the man doesn't speak correctly. Let's give it 1 sec. And guys, I will say there's a solid chance that we will be back live again tomorrow. I'm not sure what time. We'll see how longer we go on tonight based on these negotiations. But the goal is to potentially go live tomorrow leading into the deadline if we are, in fact, looking like we're making progress on a deal. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Would be the least bit surprised. But I very much would like to be here and catch our reactions with us all when that lockout is finally lifted. Again, I will be a little surprised if it happens fairly soon, but always hoping for the best. Paul, thank you so much for the kind words. Okay, Bob says, Boob, I should say, the Tuesday deadline is now when the two sides part for the evening. No shit, Bob. What is that supposed to mean? It sounds like you're saying the same thing. Obviously, the Tuesday deadline is now when the two sides part for the... Wait, what? I'm actually... What is he saying? Is he saying that the deadline is tonight whenever they... Is he saying that when they stop negotiating is when the deadline is? Because if that's the case, then we're going to go deep into the night again. There will probably be a pause. We'll go back tomorrow, and it's... I'm getting that same vibe from last week. I don't like that. You see me at Planet Fitness in Hapaj? I don't know what Hapaj is, so I can assure you that you have not. I don't think they're done negotiating for the night. It's just a very conflicting tweet. Hold on. Guys, we're less than 40 likes away from 200. So again, continue smashing that like and subscribe on if you haven't already. Always appreciate, folks. And thank you so much in advance. Always appreciate the support. Oh, see, I didn't even know that was a town on Long Island. I'm from Long Island, but I haven't lived there since I was 5. So... All right, I need to get Nightingale off my screen. He gives me a headache. Is Jesse Rogers tweeting anything? Because I know that he's been a solid voice throughout all these talks. Okay, not much today, at least. Cool. Cool. Checking back with Evan, who's been right on the money with all this reporting. Had no clue who Evan Drellich was until these negotiations, but glad I found him. He's been very spot on. What's up, Ricky? Rick and Morty. What's up, Mr. Santiago? Is the deal getting done yet? It is not getting done yet. It's in negotiations, but is by no means done. I think the two sides should compete over the terms. CBT is decided by cornhole and pre-arbor is decided by darts. Finally, a man of culture. I love that. I'm glad that someone actually has a proper mindset going on. It's not just me. Who do I think will be the first to break the deal? I think the first to break the deal will be Jeff, because Jeff is usually on that, you know? I think that Jeff is going to come out of nowhere. Whenever he's going to go Stone Cold Steve Austin on our asses and just out of nowhere, he's going to break it. Not saying tonight. I'm just saying in general. $25K apart on arbitration. That's where we were last time. That's where we were last week. Scherzer is the first to break the deal shirtless. Ashley, I like the way you think. That would make me a very happy man. If that were to transpire, that'd be fantastic. Can you imagine? I'd rip my shirt off in solidarity with him. It would only feel right. Rick, thank you so much for the kind words. I appreciate that. Yeah, they definitely get stressful at times. Don't get me wrong, especially when we're not too stressed right now, but yeah, there's definitely circumstances where it's very stressful, mainly when it's in-game live streams and things don't go the Mets way, which unfortunately happened a lot last year. Vito, pass and blocked you. Make a separate account, buddy. Andy Martino blocked me this week finally, so I can say I'm finally on that schmuck's hit list. Or I should actually say the opposite. He's on my hit list, right? And for those wondering what I'm looking at, I'm just checking Twitter on my phone because, again, it's easier to navigate through here than it is on the computer. Yes, Georgie sucked tonight. Yes, he's almost always a guaranteed loss. It's not always his fault. It wasn't his fault last game. But yes, I guarantee that the Rangers would have won if Igor was in net tonight. But they sacrificed the loss to have Igor in net against St. Louis. It is what it is. My buddy Steven, who's my co-host of our Rangers podcast, was in Minnesota today. He lives in Dublin, Ireland, might I add, but he's in the States for a couple weeks to go to Ranger games with his fiance. Was at the Ranger game tonight in Minnesota. I think he's going to the game in St. Louis too on Thursday. My man's is crazy. I just feel bad they had to see a loss like that tonight. How long have I been live? We've been live for an hour and 20. Nothing crazy. Considering we've done like 7-hour live streams on this channel, I'm not breaking a sweat right now. Okay. Chelsea James with the latest report. Let's hop on it. Shout out to my guys, Giraffe Mark and James Shiana. They probably aren't hearing me say this right now, but they've been killing it with doing their own live stream, but Twitter Spaces version for hours on end now, just like they did a week ago. That unfortunately did not go their way because the deal didn't happen. But love both those guys tremendously, so I'm happy that they're doing their talks, their own thing too. Same thing with Ballcap Sports Gym. Also, my buddy Robbie Hyde, baseball, doing live streams. Everyone doing content coverage right now. Appreciate all you guys. You're doing a great job. Chelsea James of the Washington Post reports on neither side ready to call it a night just yet. According to people familiar with their plans, sides convening by themselves for now. So sides are separate, talking amongst themselves. The union is probably going to prepare and get a proposal in there as a counter proposal to the MLB's written proposal earlier today. That's a lot of proposals in one sentence. and we continue. And we continue is what is happening. Morosi would tweet. Let's go to John. Shout out to John Morosi. I haven't read or seen much of him at all for like at least a month. Oh, okay. MLB officials are reviewing latest MLB counteroffer with the possibility of a CBA deal before daybreak still alive. Let's go. I like to hear that. So clearly the MLBPA has already given in their counter proposal. All right, folks, there you have it. Again, if you're just chiming in, John Morosi of NHL MLB Network, Fox Sports, official sources. MLB officials are reviewing latest MLB counteroffer with the possibility of a CBA deal before daybreak still alive. Like Larry, the cable guy, get her done. I had an infatuation with Larry the Cable Guy when I was a kid. I have no clue why. I had a weird infatuation with him. I loved saying "get her done," especially for fun. I didn't even know who he was. I knew it from something, and it always cracked me up. Is this happening? What I just told you what's happening. We're in negotiations. That's what's happening. Let's check on the poll in the live stream right now, as we are just over 20 likes away from 200 in the live stream, folks. Again, continue smashing that like and subscribe button if you guys are enjoying the stream. We're trying to get a 300 likes by the end of the stream. We're over halfway there already. And whoever becomes the 200th like in the stream will get a massive shout out, as always. So make sure to continue smashing those buttons, and thank you guys so much in advance. So by a small percentage of 56 to 44%, the majority out of over 400 votes is feeling optimistic about a deal getting done here in the live stream. Any further updates? I don't think we're seeing anything at the moment other than what John Morosi has just tweeted. How long am I staying up till, says Anthony. I don't know, Anthony. I mean, on air, I mean, on live, offline. I don't know. I think I'm going to stay up for a while regardless on if it's during the live stream or not. Definitely will stay up for a while. Because here's the conflicting thing. Guys, I already have stuff preset, like, for when the lockout lifts, so we can just go live right away and talk about, like, what's next from the Mets, right? Like, what moves can we be looking at? That is my bread and butter. Issue is say in just the hypothetical scenario that a deal were to happen tonight, like early, like 2-3 in the morning, I feel like that there's obviously going to be a lack of viewership for people that would want to watch that kind of live stream of, like, what's next, right? So that would be something that would make more sense, like later today, technically, because it's 12:30 a.m. So, yeah, I don't know how long I'm going to stay up for. We'll see. But rest assured, when a deal is done, we will be covering it right away on the channel and breaking down how it not just impacts the entire league, but the Mets in particular, and how the floodgates will have opened regarding signings and trades, which I am just frothing, at the mouth thinking about. You more excited to see Scherzer or DeGrom pitch this year? I really can't pick one or the other, Jack. I can't. I have to say both. I'd say there's a slight more of a level of excitement for Scherzer, only because we haven't seen him pitch in Mets uniform. So I think in the sense of who I am more interested to see pitch, like for a first time type thing, it's definitely Scherzer. But overall, I'm pretty balanced with the two. Any college players I'd like to see the Mets take so far? No, not really. I haven't deep dived much of the college players yet heading into the draft. I do plan on doing that once, obviously, we get closer to the draft, heading into the summer. I'm not at that point yet, though. I haven't watched much college baseball yet this year. I would like to change that, however. Will bullpen help? Do we need to solidify our team to be a legit contender? You need guys that can make direct impacts. There's plenty on the market. I think Andrew Chafin, the southpaw, the lefty specialist. I think Ryan Tepera, his former teammate when they were both with the Cubs earlier last season, did very strong as the right-hander, even when he got traded to the Chicago White Sox, stayed in Chicago. Jake Diekman is a sneaky good pickup of a veteran lefty from the Oakland A's. To keep in mind, Taylor Rogers is one trade of a reliever that I like a lot from the Minnesota Twins that the Mets showed a level of interest in after losing Aaron Loup pre-lockout. Colin McHugh, I think, would be a great pickup. Mets drafted him. This guy that could be a lawn man, can not just give you multiple innings to eat as a reliever, but can be a spot starter if you need. Had a tremendous year this past year in Tampa. Plenty of relievers out there like for the Mets. I do. Are they still taking away draft compensation? Yes. Pardon me, not draft, qualifying offer compensation. Yes. That's still going to be gone. I like you more. Shucks, you got me a little bit. If they get a deal done tonight, will they just tack games on the end or rework? I think that there's potential for them to tack games on at the end, but if we miss more games, then they're gonna have to do a complete reschedule, and that's gonna suck. That's really gonna suck. Doing last minute rescheduling is not fun at all. And I kind of feel like they have to reschedule regardless now that I'm saying that. I don't know. I think that there's a greater likelihood of rescheduling than anything else, which sucks. Will no qualifying offer compensation affect Conforto, or is that for next season? It should kick in next offseason. Who I think won the Jared Kelenic trade, I'll let you figure that one out, Braxton. Let me know what you come up with. If you can't pick up on like my sarcasm in that, I think that there's a pretty clear answer. And this is someone that I do think Edwin Diaz is a very good reliever, but the potential Jared Kelenic have just outweighs everything in my mind. And again, he has plenty proving to do, but I'm going to stick to my guns and say that, yeah, Jared Kelenic is going to be the best player to come out of that trade. And that's the last I want to talk about regarding that. All right. We always have to, it's always brought up at least once, no matter what the topic is, no matter what the year is. God forbid the Cano trade isn't brought up. 15 likes away from 200. Thank you guys so much for the support. Again, continue smashing that like and subscribe button. If you guys are enjoying the stream, as a Mets content creator, but overall baseball content creator, is sharing my thoughts as we are following live in the latest negotiations between the MLB and the MLBPA. And again, whoever becomes a 200 like in the live stream, please let me know so I can give you a shout out. Still no, there haven't been any updates from Evan over the past 2 hours. Well, what do you think about the 14-team playoffs? I hate it too. Thankfully, that isn't going to happen if a deal gets done in these negotiations. They're at 12 teams, thankfully. Who's my favorite Mets prospect currently? It's hard. It's really hard not to say Francisco Alvarez, not just because he's the Mets' top prospect, but because of how he's the Mets' top prospect. He's a phenomenal catching talent. The way the ball hits off that man's bat is special. And at his age too. I get teary-eyed easily talking about him. And I don't mean that to come off weird or anything, but when you think about a team's future and something that you are so ingrained with, something that you care about deeply, and you think about the potential that certain players have for your club for years on end, Francisco Alvarez easily, and I mean easily, has the most potential for any Mets catcher since Mike Piazza. And it's not even close. This guy truly has what it takes to be an all-star level catcher at the MLB level. Looks like we had 200 likes. I don't know who the 200th like was, but thank you guys so much for that. Always appreciate. Really, really appreciate that, folks. Francisco reminds me of Gary Sanchez. I see a little difference as Francisco is going to be a better defensive catcher than Sanchez ever was, in my opinion. He's not a defensive guru, but he's definitely going to get the job done. I honestly get a little bit of Pudge Rodriguez vibes when I see Francisco, to be honest, especially based on their size. But he's all muscle, too. That's the thing. And Smith, I don't know if you were the 200 like, but regardless, thank you so much for the like. Really, really appreciate that. Hype in the chat for N. Smith. Apple might save the baseball season. That's what people are saying. Gotta wake up at 5.5 hours, but here I am at 12:30 getting false hope for CBA to be agreed upon. Yes. Yes. Sounds like a day that ends in Y. Am I right? What's up, Tim? Great friend and member of the channel. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for chiming in. Gonna try to see if we got any further updates going on. Did Bob tweet anything new? Let's check on that. Steroids isn't allowed. It's just the fact that they're not testing them for right now, because the MLB didn't reach a deal when their contract expired over the past couple months with whatever association they work with regarding testing, which is ridiculous. It shows you really what their priorities are, and it's not testing players. Do I think Beatty and Vientos reach MLB this year? I think Beatty does, but pardon me. I think Vientos does, but I don't think Beatty does. If Beatty does, then he just gets a cup of coffee. Nothing more. Do I think Nito should be our starting catcher? I think Nito's just going to get split time with McCann. I don't think one deserves to get, outright far more games than the other. Yeah, I'm not surprised if they're eating late. New tweet from Ben Nicholson Smith of Sportsnet says CBA talks are still ongoing, as Chelsea Jane said. Yes, we just discussed that. International draft holding talks up at the moment with lead negotiators Bruce Meyer and Dan Hallam, potato, believed to be discussing that topic actively per source. Okay. I know, Andrew, exactly how times change. I wish the DH was around the NL when Piazza played. Agreed. 1,000% agreed. Play All Night Long by Lionel Richie. Great song. Oh, now that's stuck in my head. I'm going to be bopping to that all night, literally. Okay. What we got? Anything? Go back to Chelsea Janes, see if we got anything new. Nothing new from Chelsea Janes, just from what's been reported over the past 20 minutes. How can I get a Max Scherzer jersey? You go online, you buy one. You go in a store, you buy one. It's not that hard, Julian. I'm not trying to come off rude. I'm just saying, like, just literally do a quick Google search and you will get one. Is Alvarez our most hyped prospect since Rosario? Yes, 1,000%. Easily. And I would honestly say that there's more hype with Alvarez than there even was with Rosario. I stand by that. I wouldn't rush Alvarez either. Just whenever he's ready and when the Mets believe he's ready, bring him up. He's one of your mom's favorites, Tyler? Awesome, Mad Mike. Good for good reason. Which 86 Met would I hire as a hitting coach? Well, none of them are going to be hired as a Mets hitting coach in the near future, obviously. But if I had to pick someone out of all of them, wouldn't pick Keith because Keith doesn't want something like that. I don't think. I think he's comfortable where he's at in the booth, and I like him in the booth. Daryl's always an interesting thought, but I think Daryl's priorities are still away from baseball and doing the activism that he's been doing in the church. That's a good question, actually. Who would I think would be a good hitting coach? Kevin Mitchell, that's a good pick. I like that pick, Kevin Mitchell, actually. Yeah, I actually like that one a bit. Hojo, yeah, I like the idea of Kevin Mitchell, to be honest with you. I think that he'd be a nice fit. He's a great guy, so I wouldn't mind someone like him. An agreement tonight or deal done tomorrow, hopefully. You can't lock out the Giants from winning the World Series. Robert, I love and appreciate the support, my man. But your bias, it reeks every time you come in here, my man. The same way the Giants were going to win it all last year, right? Same way that they were unstoppable. Couldn't get out of that first round. I know you have your excuses as to why they couldn't get out of that first round. I know that was a frustrating loss for you against those Dodgers, but let's pump the brakes a little bit. Let's get the season started going again. Let's see if the Giants can work them out. Do I think the Giants are going to be a dominant team again this year? Yes. Do I think that they're going to be the best team in baseball? No. I actually feel pretty comfortable saying that. Oh yeah, this was inevitable, Mark. Yeah, this was absolutely inevitable. Story of the Yanks, would I see that happening? There's a certain level I could see Story of the Yanks, yes. But I think that if Story's going to go anywhere, especially on a longer-term deal, it really feels like one of Houston Astros. I would just say Houston Astros. I wouldn't even say Texas Rangers felt like a great fit originally, but they have Marcus Semien and Corey Seager now. So I would just say Astros. I think they're the favorite if they lose Correa. Ray Knight's in it. Ray Knight's a good pick too. I like that. Both good picks. Let's see if we got any new updates. New updates have come out, folks. Let's get to her. From Boob Nightingale himself. All right. Do I see Red Sox making any splashy moves? Yes. I think that they have a very good chance of landing Seiya Suzuki. The international draft has been a sticking point all day in negotiations with players, ex-players, executives, and agents weighing in and providing their input. So something that we've known today already is confirmed to be holding true in regards to the international draft. I'm going to read some of the comments here quick. Out and definitely seeing. Oh my goodness, the memes, new bases. Come on. I'm literally the size of Jose Altuve, so this hits home for me. It really does. So once again, there has been real progress today, yet players have reservations about going into an international draft while owners have to have it per one source. Maybe the sides bridge that gap, or maybe there's still too much distance and more games come off schedule. Yes, those are the options right now, Ben. This is the most frustrating aspect about following this reporting. This is exactly why I have not bothered to do a live stream like this throughout the lockout stats until now, because we finally have made significant progress. That's why I felt it was needed to jump the gun on this. Prior, however, it's just so frustrating. It's just more of the same shit. You know, it's just a different way of rewording it. Like, yes, we're aware. If they bridge a gap, great. If they don't, then we miss games. Like, yes. These are not things that take a rocket scientist to figure out. Oh, yeah, Baez is going to love the new bases. And rightfully so. Less than 100 likes away from 300 in the live stream, folks. Thank you so much for that. And guys, we're like what? We're 60 subs away now from 13K on the channel. So continue smashing that like and subscribe button. If you guys have been enjoying the live stream, thank you all so much in advance per usual. And continue smashing those buttons if you find yourself enjoying the live stream, as we're staying up to date on the lockout and its stats. MLB did just sign a deal with Apple. Look, if Apple's the X factor to getting a deal done soon, then so be it. We all just want a deal done, right? What would be the holdup on the international draft? I'm confused by this. You got your money. You want to supposedly take the damn deal. The international draft, there's multiple reasons as to why it's at a holdup still. There are things that the players that don't feel comfortable with on that side. And I think the value of the players, how that is utilized too. There's multiple things. I'm not going to act like I know every specific detail right now, because I don't. I just know that they are clearly still a ways apart on that, and that they're actively negotiating on that front. Checking back with Nightingale. Nothing new there. Okay. Do I think the Mets will regret making the Baez trade? No, I don't. I don't think Pete Armstrong's going to amount to anything that's going to make the Mets look back and say, oh, can't believe we did that. Michael Silverman, you got it. MLB plans on working as long as it takes tonight, this morning. MLBPA is still working tonight, this morning. Positive. They're negotiating. Negative. This could be a drag. Have I come around on booing Stroman in his first start in Citi Field? I'd say that there is a possibility I may boo him, knowing that he's on the opposing club, especially. Yeah, I definitely say that there will be a possibility. Let me put it this way: he definitely put a sour taste in Mets fans' mouths with the things that he said, that he's tried to backtrack on, which you don't do. Yeah, there's definitely a possibility. And that doesn't go just for him. That goes for most teams, the opposing teams. I mean, look, I love Zach Wheeler, but I naturally was booing his ass last year when I saw him at Citi Field against the Mets, especially because I was like 3 rows from the dugout. I'll miss Stroman at the player, but not the person. I think that's beautifully said. Beautifully said. There's even aspects of his personality that I really enjoyed. It just, again, unfortunately, a lot of things have changed that have not gone in his favor. Angel Pagan, that's an old one. David Ireland with the $5 donation. Thank you so much for that. And get shout out all you guys that are staying up late here in the live stream. It is really appreciated. Thank you so much for that $5 dono. David, great member on the channel. Hope you're having a great night, my friend. Still nothing out of Rosenthal or Passan. Hard to be optimistic after last week when these two were silent. Completely fair. Again, I don't blame you for feeling that way. I will say that there's definitely a larger optimism on my front, knowing that we finally have reached a level of negotiations that's unprecedented in comparison to the previous ones on the issues that matter most, which is the money. It's always the money. That's what happens in these discussions. It's the CBT. No baseball until May. I hope that's not the case, but of course that's definitely a risk, and would I be surprised in the slightest if we don't get baseball until May? No, not at all, not at all. But again, I hope that's not the case. Over under 3.5 at bats for DeGrom this year. Under DeGrom is not going to get 1 at bat this year, I don't think. I don't see the Mets putting him in a DH spot. Fave game I've ever went to. I've went to a couple good ones. My favorite is probably one that happened in early of 2019. And that was the game against the Nationals where the Mets got a crazy comeback late in the game against them to win. Home runs galore. Saw back-to-back home runs from Michael Conforto and Robinson Cano. That's what gave the Mets the lead late in the game. Pete Alonso hit his first home run at Citi Field. J.D. Davis had a 2 home run game. It was a fantastic offensive performance. Checking back on Ben Nicholson Smith, see if we get any further reporting here. And we have not. Where's Cano on this team this year? I don't know. I really don't know. I'd imagine that the most he'll be is off the bench, but we'll see. Okay. My apologies for the, the delay in speaking, folks. Was just trying to stay up to date on these reports here. We get a new pass and tweet? Or was he just retweeting shit? That's how I don't understand. Why is that in my noties when that's from basically an hour ago? Which is weird because it felt like he just tweeted that. Same thing with Ken. Yeah, no. This was from earlier by Morosi. Haven't seen anything further. Pass and trolls. I haven't dealt with them, thankfully. All right, folks. We're getting close to the 2-hour mark in the live stream. We're also getting close to 300 likes in the live stream. What are you doing up so late? Following along with the MLB's lockout stats because we've had significant negotiations happen, which I would say are by far the most significant we've had throughout this entire process. So I felt it was warranted to get on live, talk about it, share our reactions to it, especially if something happens. It will be a 12-team playoff, might add. But everyone in the live stream right now, do you think a deal gets done by tomorrow's implemented deadline set by the MLB, which is now at originally said it was for, late evening tomorrow. I don't know exactly when the deadline is, but sometime tomorrow it would seem. Today, technically. Do you think a deal gets done within the next day? I think that's what I'm asking you guys, right? Will a deal get done within the next day? Give me a yes or no. Absolutely effing not. Yes, no. Let's go down the list on the yeses and nos here. No, I don't think so. Says James. How's it going, James? They only make progress when they're under pressure. No. Says Kyle. A lot of optimism in this group, if you couldn't tell already. Cue the sarcasm. Nope, no. Starting to feel a bit more optimistic, but not sold. Okay. No baseball in 2022. We need to realize that. No, that is not a fact at all, John. Mets Nation Elliott staying confident, saying yes. Andrew says yes, but only because of Apple. Okay. Yes with an asterisk. Okay. The reporters seem like a yes, but could be a tactic to make MLBPA look bad like last week. Yes, that's something that everyone should be keeping an eye out for sure. Mad Max is taking his shirt off as we speak. I like the way you think, Ashley. Players are really going to not take this deal over the draft, says Mike Marino. gas prices will go down too. Oh, so you're saying pigs? You're saying pigs will fly. So that's where we're getting at. Okay. Don't get me started on the gas right now. Please don't. I don't need to go on that tangent. Saber Magician, thank you so much for the kind words. Appreciate you. Gas is like 9 in Cali. It's literally like 9 in Cali. It's pushing 9, I'm pretty sure. Baseball Fanatic says, I believe that the reason why the international draft is holding up is because the players may want the younger talent who go in the draft to get paid more money than they had in previous and past seasons. That's fair guess. It's definitely a monetary aspect when we look at it for sure. Robert with the non-giant giant comment. Love to see that. What are the rules for pinch hitting for a DH hitter? I appreciate your response. Thanks. You got it, Robert. Rules for a DH as a pinch hitting DH. I mean, if I had to guess, because I don't have it out of the playbook right now, we have to see how it's exactly implemented. You know, I think it just goes like any other positional change, right? If you have someone in the DH position and you pinch hit for them, you take that player out of the lineup and you put that player in as a pinch hitter, which I would assume, again, correct, I could be wrong here, but I would assume that whoever comes in as pinch hitter then would remain in the DH for the remainder of the game unless that pinch hitter is replaced by someone else. So that's my assumption. Good point. If you come out of the DR and you're making $10K a year in the minors instead of getting signed for substantially more, yes. You ever missed Shea? I do. I've only went to Shea once though when I was a kid. I wish I got to experience it more. I love the look of it. I wish that I got to experience Shea the way that I know more seasoned fans have. I love the outside. I loved everything about it. Like the look, it looks so cool and unique. I do love Citi Field, however. I think it seemed like Shea definitely needed, an update. It would have been nice if maybe they could have tried to salvage it. But I love Citi Field. Don't get me wrong. But I loved not just the outside look of Shea more, but also in parts the inside look, the coloration, the blue. It really stood out to me. But there are many things I love about Citi Field. A ghost win is simply starting a series where the team that is like a higher seed, for example, has a win already. So you start the series down 1-0, which is stupid. I don't agree with that at all. And I hope that doesn't happen. We are lucky to have Steve Cohen as an owner. You can agree on that one. Used to give you tickets often. That's great. Yeah, the owners want all the fancy things in regards to the playoff format, but I do think it changes knowing that they proposed a 12-team playoff format now, which is what we're all in favor of. Oh, yeah. All Yankees fans are bitter about Cohen because they're not the big dogs in the market anymore. They aren't. And they're not going to be for quite a while. Yankees will always have money to spend, but the Mets will always have more. And they will always show a level of aggressiveness that, especially when going after the same player, I can comfortably say that 9 out of 10 times Mets will land that player as long as it is for financial reasons. If it is based on personal preference, that's where the Yankees could find themselves being a winner. But yes, the Mets are going to be a thorn in the Yankees side for a very long time. And that's beyond refreshing to say. Thank you so much for the bless you, James. Appreciate that. Appreciate everyone that's blessed you in the chat. Trying to think of how much later we want to go tonight, folks. I'm going to kind of just, if I go off the live and something happens, then it is what it is. Then I'll hop back on the live stream or whatever. I'm thinking that as of now, I'm probably going to go to at least 1:30 is my idea. Could be later. At least 1:30 for now. So we basically still got a half an hour. We're going to chug through this, see what happens. I would like to share some fun news with you guys because I know that the majority of you guys are loyal subscribers here chiming in. If you're not, please make sure to smash that like and subscribe button if you're enjoying the content. Also, help us get to 300 likes in the live stream, guys. We're getting awfully close there, so continue smashing that like and subscribe button is always appreciated. And thank you so much in advance for that. But some fun, exciting news, folks. I am going to be, and I'll probably announce this on the channel, the community tab or something soon, but I am going to be with a group of all the biggest baseball YouTubers, content creators, and sports content creators as a whole that you can think of. And we are going to be in a baseball team together this summer in the beginning of June. And we're going to go out and basically play some minor league teams, teams that are in the MLB's Appalachian League, up and coming prospects that are committed to some significant colleges. So we're beyond excited. There's a lot getting planned for that trip, but that is set to happen in the beginning of June. So once more information is out there, once everything's finalized on just posting more things, I will do that. But I'm beyond excited. Going to potentially live stream it on the channel too, if possible. There's a decent chance that may be broadcast as well for at least one of the multiple games. So definitely something to keep an eye out for. Very, very excited for that. Meant to share it with you guys previously, just forgot to. So, yeah, stay tuned. Robbie Hyde, who's fellow content creator that has been live streaming tonight, will be a part of that. Other big names: Draft Neck Mark, Fuzzy, Foolish Baseball, Bailey, the boys Matt, and all of them at SRS Stark Raven Sports, 5 Points Vids, Urinane Tree. So many of them. King Juco, one of my favorites. A lot of them. So very, 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 very excited. A lot of content creators. Didn't even list them all there. So I'm very pumped to get that out for you guys. And hopefully make some really fun content against some basically professional baseball players to watch me get to really smoke me, I would say. The only way I see myself getting on base is my small ass strike zone being the size of Jose Altuve or leaning into a pitch. Those are the only ways that I'm thinking of. And no, not as of now, not John Boy, no. But definitely hope to do stuff with them in the future. Let's see. Any new updates? Let's double check, folks. What position do I like to? I'll probably play somewhere in the outfield. The only time I played actual baseball was like t-ball when I was a kid. I played outfield. I was quite literally the guy from Benchwarmers that would be like playing with a butterfly in the outfield, or what I would do a lot is I would kill all the, when gnats swarm you, I would kill the gnats on the lid of my hat on the inside. You see all these little blood stains from the bugs. I prioritize that over looking at fly balls. But I am fast. That's the one thing I can say. I've always been a fast athlete. That's always been what I've excelled at. Was beyond fast. I was in fitness team. Growing up in high school, was known for my speed. Grew up as a soccer player, played travel, was a striker. Only got anywhere because of my speed. So while I'm definitely not in the shape that I used to a couple years ago, that is what I'll be banking on when I do those games. Yeah, no, I love Eric Sim. Yeah, very, very, very excited to meet him. And he will be, his back will be so heavy from carrying us. You have no idea. You were the fourth outfielder, attaboy. Yeah, still no updates. Hold on. Let's check back on Bob. If they do a ghost one, they should let the lower seed get the win. I just hate the idea of the ghost win as a whole. It's hard for me to even like be okay with that, regardless on who gets it. I'm not cool with it. I think it's messed up. Checking back on our poll now, and we're getting closer to 300 likes, guys. So again, continue smashing that like and subscribe on, and thank you all so much in advance for the support. Always is appreciated. And we're getting really close to 13K subs too. So again, if you're new to the channel, if you like consistent, not just baseball content, but we are New York Mets centric here. Can't emphasize that enough. Love talking all things baseball, but again, Mets centric, largest Mets content creator you will find here on the platform. Beyond grateful to say that. So definitely smash those buttons. 56%, you guys stay. You guys have been steady at 56% basically the entire stream since I put up the poll. Out of roughly 540 you guys voting over the past hour and a half, I say, are you feeling optimistic about a deal getting done? 56 of you guys are in favor, saying yes. Which division rival should the Mets be most worried about this season? Atlanta. I mean, I would assume possibly the team that just won the World Series. Could be a stretch, but I'm going to go on a limb and say, yeah, the Atlanta Braves are the biggest threat. Not just for the Mets, but for every team in the league. So, yes, the reigning champs are 1,000% the biggest team to be concerned about, especially knowing that they managed to win a World Series with a bunch of trade deadline acquisitions leading the way, and without their best player in Ronald Acuna Jr., and without a potential ace that's been dealing with horrendous injuries past couple years, that being Mike Soroka. The fact that they managed to pull off what they did without two of their best players in their entire roster is nothing short of jaw-dropping. And they deserve all the credit in the world for it. It was a miracle run. But yes, they're still the team to beat. Even if Freeman's as good as gone, they're still going to be a force to be reckoned with, because there's a solid chance they could trade for Matt Olson, and that's the best Freddie Freeman replacement you could possibly get. Freeman, LA or Yanks? I think there's a better chance potentially for the Yanks, just because I feel like the Yanks would be willing to go to a longer term deal than the Dodgers would. But location wise, I think that favors LA, considering that Freeman is a Cali native. Remember, Mets need a lefty bat. They checked in on Freeman pre-lockout, so until it's impossible, anything's possible, right? Should the MLB allow PED for injured players? I mean, if you're injured, why use PEDs? I get it, especially if you're older, especially with Robinson Cano, the points that helps you heal faster depending on the circumstance. I don't know. I don't really want to get into a deep dive on the PED discussion because it's above my pay grade right now for what my focus is on. There's a solid chance. I think there's a decent chance Conforto comes back because the Mets want a lefty bat and would like to add outfield depth. I'm all in favor of bringing Conforto back, but I've always been a diehard Conforto fan, so there's a little bit of bias. But I feel that he will bounce back nicely, and also because I feel that if Conforto doesn't land with the Mets, I think he has a very good chance of going to Philly, and that's going to bite the Mets in the ass, just like how Zach Wheeler has. And for those that might not believe if Andy has me blocked or not, yes, I have joined the famous list of people blocked by the great Andy Martino. Bold of him to block a man that's going to take over his job in a couple of years. But hey, it is what it is. Nothing new from Ben Nicholson Smith right now either. Yes, Conforto's a Boris client. Any new from Chelsea James? We'll check on Chelsea. Anything new from Jack? I'll let you figure that one out, John. You discovered they don't put the new Hatch episode on Hulu. That just reminded me, I don't think I recorded last week's episode of Snowfall, and I'm pissed off about it. New episodes come out every Wednesday. I hope that they have it running tomorrow that I can catch up. Damn, I just realized that. That's annoying. We're going to type in Mike Hawk. I know that he's a fake reporter, but I'm just curious to see what he came out with. Or did his thing get taken down? Maybe he got taken. Oh shit! I think his thing got taken down. That is not him. Yeah, still not a whole lot of updates going on. You guys crack me up. And Sandy, have a great time at work, my friend. Early morning to you. Great member on the show. Appreciate you chiming in. We're not going to be staying live for too much longer, but we've been riding this one out because, again, to reiterate everything, the MLB gave an offer to the MLBPA today that actually was substantial, in my opinion. Didn't love it, but definitely didn't hate it in comparison to the previous ones. There was movement there. Looking at not only that, but how the Mets, our impact is not good, but Steve Cohen has expressed, from what's been reported at least, that he's willing to bite the bullet without really a problem on the luxury tax. If the MLB feels it's best for the league. So the MLB that's scared of Steve Cohen, that's putting in a new surcharge to really try to hurt him, are the same exact clubs that are going to continue to lose out because of Steve Cohen balling out. So, Steve, we love you. Can't begin to express how much I appreciate Steve Cohen, what he's done for the Mets in such a short period of time. And I'm beyond excited to see what he's going to continue to do for the Mets. I have my Steve Cohen newspapers. They're not on the wall behind me, but I do have them. Where do I have them? I have them somewhere, don't I? Oh, yes, I do. They're out of frame, but they're to my right over here. I have the Steve Cohen newspapers when the Mets actually first got him as owner. Oh, I have a bunch of old Mets newspapers that I will show you guys probably next live stream or something. That was gifted from a great family member of mine. Like fantastic newspapers. I can't wait to get them framed. Some tremendous stuff in great condition. Slasher, shout out to you. I just want to see no spam in the chat, Slasher. You got your shout out. No spam now. Be good, my man. If there is a tax, there should be a minimum too. These low budget teams should not be pocketing the dough. Agreed. 100% agreed. Can't stand not listening to Gary Keith and Ron. Couldn't have said it better. We are spoiled of Cohen with reality of Cohen now. It's unreal. It really is. Good morning, Assembly. Appreciate everybody chiming in. Why did Martino block me? Oh, he's a schmuck. That's why. He just went through a purge of blocky people. Couldn't handle the fact that I actually had to counter to him on multiple occasions because he doesn't know what the hell he's saying. And even when I give him credit, which I have given him a lot this offseason because he has been accurate about a lot of his reporting, it still leads to me getting blocked. I really like Billy Epler, the Mets' new GM. Yes, we've talked about him a lot on the channel. Okay, let's see. Anything new? Anything? Okay. Known concessions offered today. We know this already. Would up CBT to 230 to 242 range. Would up minimums of 700 to 770K range. Would up pre-R pool to 40 million range. 6 draft picks via lottery. Players open to extra CBT surcharge level. Would allow rule changes. Might drop pre-R bonus pool to 70 million. That 6 draft picks via lottery is actually huge because I know that's what the players union was advocating for. They want at least 6. MLB was at 5. So the MLB, there are some decent concessions today. There really are. Better than what we've seen a lot than much previously. Let's see. I worry short season creates out of shape players and such. There's a no, my mic isn't off. I just wasn't talking. Sorry. I worry about it too. There are some positives to a shortened season, though. I'd like to make that clear. And that's what I talked about in today's video. Bagel chips and spinach dip. Bagel chips and pesto sounds good, to be honest with you. You said spinach dip. That made me think of pesto right away. Bagel chips, pesto. I'll go with this, something like that. That actually sounds delicious. And I love pesto. I literally had pasta and pesto for dinner last night. Chefed it up for me and my lady. Let's see. Yep, still nothing from Bob. The last few seasons have been short seasons. How will this impact future Hall of Fame candidates? Watch my video today on Jacob deGrom, Max Scherzer. That's exactly what I touched on. It's really important because Jake in particular, his Hall of Fame resume can be directly impacted by how the season will play out, which sucks, but definitely check it out. Is Piazza jersey signed? No, it is not, unfortunately. Pesto, mutz, and tomato. Nice. Love that. It's perfect sandwich. Perfect sandwich. Are they still in meetings as we speak? They were with their respective club sides. I think that they are active in negotiations still right now. Yes. Everything bagel versus Asiago cheese. Go. I got to go everything bagel. I'm not a big Asiago cheese fan. I'm sorry. Cheese, I'm very picky. My mainly Italian self, the main cheeses I like and appreciate are, fresh mozzarella. And then, I love burrata, which is literally like mutz on the outer, but reguff on the inner, which is ricotta, as many of you guys know. I love Parmesan Reggiano. I probably said that wrong. Those kind of cheeses are my favorite. Pesto bread is the way to go. Ooh, that sounds awesome. Any City Field food you're looking forward to? Nothing specifically. I will say I actually had the best chicken tenders I had there were not from the normal stands, but when you go to the gluten-free section, everything's better in the gluten-free section. I promise. Chicken tenders actually taste like legit. When you get them from their normal stands, they just taste like the normal frozen tenders. But if you get the chicken tenders from the gluten-free stand, it's a W. Really like the rice balls they have too. I like the pesto rice ball that they got. I know that they have a pizza rice ball. I think they have a Nutella one as a dessert one. There's multiple things I like there, but those stand out for sure. I don't add vinegar to my sandwiches because I don't like my sandwiches to get soggy. So the only thing I would add is salt and pepper. Fettuccine Alfredo, my girl loves that. I'm not a big Alfredo fan, though. I like penne vodka more. I am half Italian, half Irish. My last name, Ward, is Irish. So that's where you get that. I'm more Italian than anything else. But yes, I am Irish, too. Whole negotiations feels like a TV drama, keeping us fans annoyed and on the edge of our seats the entire time. Yeah, I feel that. I do. Tacos are always good. But with that being said, folks, I think that is going to wrap up tonight's live stream. With the lack of information right now, I think it's best to cut things off, especially with the assumption that I will be going live again in the near future, whether that's some way later tonight or sometime tomorrow, which definitely feels like a strong possibility. So I'm going to leave you off with this. I want to thank everyone so much that chimed in the live stream tonight. It was last minute. So everyone that was watching live, pat yourself on the backs. You're absolute beauties. You're OGs on the channel. Really appreciate that. To all my new viewers, thank you guys so much for chiming in, for the new support. I expect great content, especially Mets-centric here, all on the channel throughout the year. We're the #1 Mets-centric content that you will find on the platform. Beyond grateful to say that. Expect so much to happen. Expect so much. As soon as the lockout lifts, we'll be live discussing right away. As soon as the news happens, anything regarding the New York Mets, we will be talking about it right away. I'm beyond excited to do just that. A lot of great content's coming in the coming days to weeks to months here on WardyNYM. So thank you all so much again. Hope you have a great night. Please get some rest. And also, if you're watching this live, stay tuned. Check in. I will be chiming in for a couple minutes on Ballcap Sports at Jim's channel, where he is still live with over 1,000 viewers, I believe. So if you guys are still trying to follow on, more updates and just hear other opinions about the lockout and its status right now, at the time of recording this, make sure to check out Jim's channel at Ballcap Sports, where he's doing great things. So again, thank you guys so much. I hope you all have a fantastic night. Hopefully we have some great news to talk about soon. I might unsub your Jays fan. I like the Jays, so I hope you don't unsub, because I speak glowingly of the Jays quite often. But no less, appreciate everyone's support. Thank you guys so much again, as always, and have a great rest of your night. Let's go Mets, baby. Come on, MLB, MLBPA. Let's get a deal done before things really start to look ugly. Peace out.